Broadcasting from the center of the universe in Stony Creek, Ontario, Canada. This is the Renovating Life podcast. With your hosts, Steve Kopak and Dan Carroll. And producer, Greg Natishan. Follow along on their journey to become real estate entrepreneurs and interview guests that will inspire you to take action in your life. Brought to you by Battlefield Real Estate Investments. Invest in real estate. Invest with Battlefield Real Estate Investments.
Yeah, baby, we're back. This is the Renovating Life podcast. Welcome back to the show. Thank you for tuning in live. Thank you for liking and telling a friend. We appreciate that and love that about you. Right, Greg Natishan? And Steve Kopak, who's leaving now. This is good pod. Dude, we haven't been in the saddle for 2 seconds and you're already getting up and moving around the room.
Oh, whatever.
We have a live audience today. We have a great guest in. Jay Perry, he is an author. He is a professional photographer, and he is the founder of an amazing organization called Friends with Hearts, and we would like to welcome Jay Perry to the show. Welcome in.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Good to see you again. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah, how you been?
Good.
Yeah? Can't complain. Well, I mean, it's been an interesting couple of years, right?
Well, it hasn't been a while for me. This is the first time I met him.
Well, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting to say the least. It sucked.
Yeah.
The past 2 years being stuck inside and, doing nothing.
Right.
I remember you guys asked me to do this 2 years ago, and I was like, I don't know about that.
I know. It's really kind of infiltrated everybody's psychology, right? Like, oh, I'm afraid to be in the same room as people. And I think now we're just starting to see people like actually get out again. And it's weird though. We have this great divide now of people that are just done with it and then people that are afraid.
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat. I took my niece and nephew bowling today. It was March break for them. And it was the first time I had been in a large group in so long. And there was part of me that was like, this is so cool. And then there was parts like, should I be here? And it's like weighing out and where do you go in the middle? And it's like, I have to just start doing stuff.
Right.
It felt good to be outside with people.
Right.
Finally, I think we need to get it back there because COVID, like, I don't know for anyone else or you guys, but it's like the one that gets killed for me is my motivation for
right.
a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been hearing that's like a common theme amongst a lot of people is that their motivation is just kind of like, just right straight down.
Yeah, a lot of people just sticking around at home, hermits, right? Even those of us just been working from home, right? It's just losing that personal connection with people, and you're starting to see a lot of that affecting a lot of people's mental health.
For
right?
sure, yeah, it's been wild.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that we can get into with Jay. I mean, with respect to your music background, photography. I think I want to just start. I think with the photography. I mean, just going through your website, jayperry.ca.
Yep.
I mean, you're not taking these aren't your. This isn't going to Sears and getting a family photo like back in the day. I mean, you do some serious work, and you've been worked with some really interesting people. I don't know if you want to talk about some of your experience there.
Yeah. So I've been doing photography for I'm gonna say maybe like 12 years now, which is pretty crazy.
Right.
Yeah. On my website, it's the majority of the work on there is personal projects. Near the bottom, there is some paid work that friends convinced me to put on there. Okay. Otherwise, I doubt I'd even put it on there. But it's taken me around the world. I am only in the position I am, fortunately, in the photography world because of a photo I took in Haiti, 10 years ago that kind of launched my photography career that allowed me to do so many different things. And it's funny because I actually stumbled into the photography industry. I was playing music, and when the band broke up, we had to get an adult job.
Was that Holiday?
Yeah. The band's name was Holiday. We did some cool things and did some bunch of touring. But then, making $100 a week kind of got old. We were like, I don't know, 26 or 27.
Right.
Time to get an adult job. And even though I was a college graduate, it was, 5-6 years past of what I graduated from. And on the road, I actually taught myself how to design websites.
Oh, interesting.
So when the band ended, had to get this adult job. I actually got a job as a web designer at a place in Burlington. And no joke, I lasted a day and a half. Yeah, it was like the first day was a half day, come in at noon and leave at 5. Second day was a full day. And then the next morning, it was like, this isn't for me. I was getting anxiety just after a day and a half there. And I'm like, this 9-to-5 life, I can't do it. So
I got a perfect t-shirt for you up in my closet.
I can't wait.
It says right on the back, your cubicle fucking sucks.
It was the first time I was at a cubicle, and there was a point on my, second day there where the boss was standing over my shoulder, kind of watching what I was doing. And I'm thinking, oh man. And you know what? I don't want to say that it's terrible, because it is for some people. Right. And that's fine. But I remember calling the next morning and just being like, I'm not coming back in.
Really?
So what do I do? Well, I got to do something. So I started getting these clients on my own and designing some websites for them and getting all these like stock images online for them. And there was an specific image I needed for a naturopath that I was doing, and I couldn't find it anywhere online. So I borrowed my brother's little dinky camera and I took a photo, and I was like, this is so much cooler than doing web design.
Okay.
And so right then and there, I'm like, how do I do this full time? It's like, well, I don't really have money to go back to school. So I just committed every hour to learning the craft, saving up money and just investing it. And it took about, a few years before I could, start getting a lot of paid jobs and call myself a professional.
Yeah.
So that's like the long story and how I got into it.
Yeah, it's a hustle, right? I mean, but you were willing to put in the work.
Yeah, it was definitely a hustle. My first kind of introduction to it, what I did on Facebook was I did a 365 project. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but it's like you post a photo you take every day for a year.
Oh, yeah.
And if you go on my personal Facebook page, those photos are still up there. There's like 3 different albums, and I left them up there on purpose so you can compare and contrast to what I do now. And so for individuals, it's like saying, I'll never be able to do that because I was that guy. You can see the terrible images I was taking back in, 2010 or something like that.
It's interesting though, but I think the important part is that you just did it, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think that they have to perfect the art before they start. And I mean, you just went for it, and now you've progressed so much, you look back and you're like, holy cow.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I've always lived life is just go and do it and learn from your mistakes. I look forward to making mistakes.
Right.
As cliche as that sounds.
It's so true.
But it's the only way that I can learn how to fix what I'm trying to achieve. But yeah, it's taken me to a lot of cool places. I met some really cool people.
Right.
So it's been fun for sure.
Speaking of meeting some pretty cool people, I mean, how do you go from starting where you did to now all of a sudden you're taking pictures of like DeMar DeRozan and you're in with the Leafs and like, the one and only Snoop Dogg, like how
How cool is that guy?
Snoop Dogg?
Is he that?
Okay, so quick story is I don't get starstruck at all. I don't care who they are. I mean, I think that's why they kind of bring me on these jobs as well, because I see them as a client and somebody that needs to be in a photo or video.
An actual professional.
Yes.
It's probably refreshing for them to not have to deal with like a fanboy.
For sure. But and side note to this, but hockey players are so fun to be around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're cool guys.
So
They're
drinkers.
I won't mention who, but there were some former Toronto Maple Leafs, and in the middle of setting up some different lights, we were talking about video games and strip clubs. And that's
Mitch Marner.
That's a true story.
How far back are we going? I bet we can guess.
Yeah, we're talking like maybe like 2015, 16.
Okay, it's not Marner.
I don't think any of the guys are still
Kessel.
on the team.
Phil Kessel. Phil with Boy loves hot dogs.
That's a different kind of lap dance.
So meeting Snoop Dogg was like really, really cool. And you got to see how much a professional he is, as well as a performer. And him backstage to him on stage is almost two different people, but the same person at the same time, as weird as that sounds. And he was one of the coolest people I've ever met. So down to earth.
Yeah.
Just a unreal guy. And no joke, you could smell him and his posse from
like what?
a mile away. Yeah, it's true what happens with him. But did you ask how I got all?
Yeah, like
this?
how do you?
How do you go?
How do you get into that door?
Yeah. Now the honest answer is, I wish I could say it's 100% hard work and talent. But I would say, unfortunately, it's a lot of who you know, right? And that's just how the world works.
For sure.
And one of my really good friends, Adam, was working for Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, and they needed a job done for that DeMar DeRozan was going to be in. And he said to the client, he said, we're going to bring Jay in. We're footing the bill for this. But if you like him and his work, then you hire him going forward, and you're paying for everything. So that was like my one chance.
Right.
Adam got me in.
One shot.
We did
one opportunity.
Yeah, we did the shoot. The client liked it and just
song.
kept me on.
Yeah.
So it is a lot on how you know, right?
Right.
Who you know, unfortunately.
The
But
importance of nurturing relationships and being nice and kind to people.
Well, that's
all the time.
where I wanted to get into.
Right.
It's kind of like, yes, it's who you know, and specifically my friend Adam. But it's also because, I met Adam when, I was 19 years old and put in the time, not say put in the time, but wanted to put in the time to spend with him, become his friend. And I think that's valuable, right? That time there. And I think that people always think, it's it is who you know, but it's like, you've got to really evaluate how much time you've been putting into those relationships and where they come from and where they can go and whatnot. Like, it's just, I didn't meet this guy in the street and the next day he's like, let's go shoot some professional athletes.
For
Didn't
sure.
work like
I
that.
think it's always going to be like a who you know world, right? Like, I got my first apprenticeship because of who my old man was. And I remember going into my old boss's office and saying, hey, thanks for giving me this opportunity. Like, I love this job, blah, blah, blah. And like, I hope you're not keeping me on just because of who my old man is. He's like, Steve, he goes, I would have fired you last week if you were shit.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, your dad got you the job, but you kept the job.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. They say, knowing somebody will get you that first interview, but ultimately if you suck, you suck. Right?
There's a book by a guy named Dan Sullivan called Who Not How. I think a lot of people get lost in the how, like, how am I going to do this? And, we talked about just jumping in and starting, but a lot of the times it comes down to the who can actually help me get there, and how can you add value to that person?
Yeah, that's 100% it, for sure.
Of all the people that you've met, like, I always wonder, like, you've met some very interesting people and influential people, and some people will say, like, oh, like, I interacted with this person and they had such a huge influence on me. And specifically to sort of like the stars that you've shot, did you have a particular interaction with anyone that you could say that had a positive influence on you?
Interesting. I know you're looking for like a deep answer here.
Doesn't have to be.
I don't think I have one, because when we, okay, so in the photography side, and specifically the professional athletes or the musicians that I've shot, we don't get to spend a lot of time with them.
Right.
It was rare that I had the conversation with the hockey guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different
Yeah.
breed of individuals.
But you even said with Snoop, for example, like, just how you saw how he interacted behind the scenes, like there's a Snoop behind the scenes and then on camera, right? Like,
Yeah,
just
okay,
how he's treating people too.
I'll tell you what. Okay, I wasn't sure if I wanted to tell this story, but I will tell it.
Well, these are my favorite stories. Like,
So when I say he's two different people, and this was what I really liked about him, the performer and the person. So when I was hired to photograph him when he was DJing the NBA All-Star Game after party in Toronto when the All-Star Game was here a few years ago.
Right.
And he was up on stage, and there was a few thousand people in there. And I was on the side stage photographing him. And honestly, on both sides of the stage, like you'd see in any rap video, and I'm stereotyping big time here, it was filled with all these beautiful women on both sides, right? At the side stage, and then just kind of like waving at Snoop. And
That's not what I pictured at all. I pictured a bunch of Mormons.
There's a point to it. And while he was playing and smoking and doing his thing, he would always look over and just like kind of give him a wink, wave at them, because the crowd could see all these girls over here,
right?
And he was playing it up. He was being Snoop Dogg,
right.
Always pointing and like kissing and blowing kisses,
like playing the character.
Yeah. Honestly, I'll never forget this. His set ended. He got off stage, walked right by them. All these girls were waiting because they had been pointing at him and blowing kisses. He walked right by them and went on to his next thing, and didn't even. And I was just right there. I was like, "That's a pro." Right there. And I was like, so that, as weird as it sounds, that kind of influenced me to realize there's a time for performance and there's a time to be a person. There's a time for business.
Right.
And he played the part so well. And that's why he is who he is. And I don't think that's anything negative about him.
Mm-hmm.
That's
no, not at all.
Yeah,
he's all business.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He was really cool that day.
Oh, that's cool. Speaking of performance, do you miss playing in a band?
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years since your last gig.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Absinthe or something?
Yeah, so we did a reunion show 2019, I think, or 2018. And before that, I hadn't been on stage in like 10 years. So, yeah, it's funny. Like the one good thing about COVID is that it got me back into music.
Okay.
That
isolation, right? It helps you perfect your craft.
It made me pick up my guitar again, which is nice, and I'm looking forward to it. Jamming with some guys, playing some music now, which is fun.
The old band, or
no, some new guys.
Okay.
But yeah, I really miss it. It's the one place that I feel most comfortable is being on stage and holding a guitar.
Yeah. What's your favorite Hamilton venue? I know you've played at Absinthe. You hit This Ain't Hollywood, or
so there was an old venue. I'm not sure if people would remember it, called the Underground.
Yes.
So it was right underneath Dirty Dogs. I think that's
Club 77. Was that too?
It backed on to 77.
And then Dirty. Yeah, you're right.
Dirty Dogs.
Was like 3 clubs there, I think.
Yeah. So it was like underground. That was a really cool venue to play. The new Absinthe, we did the reunion show there, and it was fun. But like the old Club Absinthe, for people who are watching this who like the OGs from back there, where that was cool because it's like upstairs you play a show, and then downstairs you just sweat and it's just dirt and filth, but it feels right. You know?
Yeah.
So those are kind of some of my favorite venues to play. Although we did somehow. We were like a rock band. Our demographic was from the 16-year-old girl to like the 22-year-old boy, like that little like niche market with like, other areas coming in. But that was kind of like we had a younger demographic. And for whatever reason, they asked us to play Mardi Gras at Hess Village.
Oh,
and
okay.
I don't know if you guys ever went to a Mardi Gras at Hess where they
I didn't. I knew
close
all
off
about
the
it, though.
streets and like big stage in the middle. And here's this like pop rock band of like 5 guys up there. And I don't know what the reaction was, but it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
I know.
Did we ever go to Mardi Gras, Greg? In Hess? Or are we too old for that shit?
I think we did. I don't.
Oh no, you're 1982, right?
Yeah.
So we're 81. We might have went there.
We definitely did. I just don't remember much of it.
Yeah.
Same.
I think that's a pretty common experience walking out of Hess Village.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's interesting segue. actually backtracking a bit, I really got my start in photography in Hess Village.
Okay.
So I had an unfortunate situation happen, and I couldn't drive my car anymore. So I needed a job, and again, didn't want to do the adult job thing. So I actually got hired to do the club photography at Sizzle and Koi.
With that like backdrop.
No, not that. No.
Oh,
So this
okay.
was just like the actual being a club
Like
photographer.
candid pictures in the club. Okay.
In the clubs. And
You can tell I was never photographed because I had no idea.
and it was like, I have so many stories coming from the nightclub photography world.
I can only imagine.
And I learned so much about photography, just jumping into it, learning about how to shoot in low light, how to deal with people. I mean, this is thankfully a microphone because I don't have like a loud voice. So trying to talk over people when it's loud, you learn that.
Right.
And then I turned it into another club. And then I turned that shooting into a different club in Hess Village, to the point where I had individuals shooting for me at other clubs that I ran it into like a whole business of having photographers go to each thing. So I was learning a lot about business that way as well. So we actually took over the entire village and doing all of their club photography, which was cool.
Cool. I know, well, we grew up basically at the same, I'm in 81, you're 82.
Yeah.
The music scene in Hamilton was pretty bumping in the 90s there. I was a huge like Hamilton music fan. Did you have any local influences that inspired you?
Interesting. I would say I was fans of a lot of bands, but I was never really influenced by musicians.
Okay.
As weird as that might sound. So no, not really.
Yeah.
But that's not saying like I did enjoy.
You weren't trying to get onto the Sonic Onion label or anything like that?
No, we no. I thought they were pretty cool what they were doing. There's a lot of cool bands. Like one of the bands they had on was that I loved was the band Chore. I'm not sure if you're familiar.
Chore, oh yeah.
Yeah. They were pretty cool. I believe the singer is his son's on my nephew's hockey team. But Chore was like pretty cool. I seen them actually play one of their very first shows at my high school when I was in grade 9.
Oh yeah.
They played there and then kind of got into that. I was just like touching guitar at that time. Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no real like huge influences, but definitely a lot of big fans of the band.
I remember the first concert, if you can call it that, I ever went to was at Saltfleet. And it was headlined by a band called Obscure, and then Smoother,
yeah.
Danger Franny heading the band, and then the Killjoys.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's way back.
Right. You received a letter once from a very famous Canadian, Alex Trebek, thanking you for a book that you wrote. My Dad Got Sick. We're taking an interesting turn here.
Yeah,
but
it's like a 180, but I'm cool with it. I'm down.
I definitely want to, you became an author, and I mean,
Tell us about why we wrote the book.
I mean, I think the title says it all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, what more importantly, it's about the caregiver's journey when helping somebody who's ill.
Yeah.
What can people learn from your book from a caregiver standpoint to either help themselves or the individual that they're caring for?
Well, going into writing it, I didn't have an intention that I wanted somebody to learn this, do that. But the feedback I've been getting, I've been finding out more and more on what it's been doing for people. And a lot of people, the biggest kind of like thing they say first is, it made me feel like I wasn't alone. Because when you're caregiving for somebody who's sick, you just feel so alone. Mm-hmm. I wrote it because at the time when my dad got sick, there was not a lot of literature on anything like this, especially coming from a male. And that's another thing I get is it was nice to see a male being so vulnerable in a situation like this. That I mean, that's why I wanted to write it too, because I wanted other guys to just say like, you know what, It's okay to cry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to do all this. And then once I had this book, I mean, I didn't write it to make money at all. I'd give it out to everybody if I could, figure out a way how to do that. But yeah, I did send one to Alex, and I wrote on it. It's like, it's not for you, it's for your family. And in the letter, he talked about how he gave it to his wife. I'm just going to read it. And that was pretty special for a few reasons, because I did find out that he actually writes those stuff, and he actually takes the time. And I'm like, what an amazing human being.
No kidding.
Right? That it got into his hands, that I'm hoping his family got to read it and some sort of piece from it. I don't know. But a lot of like cool things have happened with that.
Yeah. I think, fortunately, I haven't been through this situation a whole lot in my life yet. But what I have witnessed so far is that the caregiver typically gives everything that they have, whether it's emotionally, monetarily, spiritually, at the expense of themselves, right? What advice do you have, for people that, feel maybe selfish for taking care of themselves in a situation or at a time like this?
Right. That was a mistake that I made, not taking care of myself at a time. So just gets to back up, if there's people listening that don't, know about it. 2013, my dad got diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer and was given 9 months to live. And, it wasn't even a decision. I just kind of decided, okay, well, I'm going to take these 9 months off of my life and take care of him, which, it was crazy because like I was playing music in this band, making no money. Band stops, bummed out because he thought you're going to be this big rock star. Doesn't happen. You got to get this adult job. Reality hits, and you're not making any money. And finally, you get to this photography thing, not making any money. But then it's like something happens and clicks, and you start making money. You start getting these cool jobs in. And for a few years there, I was, realizing what it's like to be an adult and actually have a good paycheck. I'd never experienced that in my life. It was so cool. And then my dad got sick, and I was like, you know what? I don't care about that money because this is so much more important now. And I quit work. I quit everything.
Yeah.
To take care of him. And my goal was to take care of him, but was also to find a cure for his terminal cancer.
Right.
As crazy as that sounds, right? And that's like just my thinking. So you research. And the more you research, the more you cry, and the more you realize how serious this situation is.
Yeah.
And honestly, it took a while for me to finally realize, like, stop playing doctor. There's people who have been in school for 1 million years that can do this. You just need to be a son right now for your dad.
Interesting. Yeah.
And that's when things switched. And
just be present.
Just be present for what he needs. And for that next 9 months, just take care of him. And unfortunately, we became closer. And we were never like not close, but it's like he became my best friend during those times. And I believe it's because of what we did as a family, the encouragement we showed him, the encouragement, the positive nature that he has as a human being, that he took a 9-month diagnosis and turned it into 2.5 years along the way, baffling doctors, which gave me 2.5 years of caregiving knowledge that I couldn't find anywhere.
Right.
And yeah, there were times where I was sick myself, medicating with alcohol, because I didn't know what to do. And one of the mistakes I made was I waited a full year before I told anybody about this, which
About your dad.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, I kept it, low. And the only reason I did was because, this was like a day he wasn't supposed to see. So we celebrated that he's still here. But I wish, looking back, I would have told more people, because I could have reached out and asked for help from friends and other people, which I really tell people to do. Tell as many people as you can as soon as possible, even your close friends, so you have a shoulder to cry on if need be. So that was one of the biggest mistakes I made, because once I told people, and my cousin Terry, she was a godsend. She found out that like I was eating chocolate bars for dinner, because in the later end, my dad was in a hospice, and then my grandfather got sick and he was in a hospital, and like mornings with my dad, evenings with my grandfather, and there was no time to eat. So she started making us home cooked meals, and she would just go to the house and put them in the fridge. So when I got home, there was a meal there, which was so nice. It's those little things that help.
Yeah.
And if you're a caregiver, tell people so you can ask for help. But if you're listening to this and somebody who's caregiving, then do those things. Don't wait for them to ask for help, because they probably won't.
Right.
Just show up with food.
It's like when my mom was sick, like we didn't really tell. I didn't tell you. It kind of just fell on your lap.
Yeah.
After she passed away, right? That was also a mistake that we made. So the lady across the street, Sandy, God bless her heart, she noticed ambulances showing up like once a week, and then it was like twice a week, and she finally came over and started asking questions. So my sister told her what was going on, kind of like while they were loading my mom in an ambulance. And so she offered like to help, and she's like, oh, when you guys get home from the hospital, I'm gonna drop my cell phone number off, and if you need anything, you want me to go pick this up or whatever. And my mom, she ended up passing away in that little stretch. So Sandy came over with this piece of paper with her phone number on it. My sister's like, oh my God, like she passed away last night. And like Sandy was crushed. Like she had this piece of paper and like she just crumpled it in her hand. She was like, well, I actually here, like if you guys need anything, like, because there's a funeral and whatever. And she actually brought over dinner the one time. It was, and you don't realize you need that until like afterwards. And I know Greg, I think you were involved in it. The whole bunch of my friends, they bought, what the hell was that called, Greg? Would you guys buy me?
I forget, to be honest.
It was that dinner. It was like dinner in a box, right?
So we made dinner program.
All you have to do is just put it in the oven and it's done, right?
Okay.
So we had that like as a family for 5 days, and it was just one thing you didn't have to think about, right?
Yeah. Like when we go to funerals, what's the line? I'm sorry about your loss. If you need anything, let me know. Right. Yeah. And then at actually my dad's celebration of life, my brother and I were like, let's test people. Let's see if they're really true on that. Right. We did end up doing it. Okay. But instead of saying like, or no, I get it, because it's funerals, celebrations of lives are weird. Right. Mm-hmm. So you don't know what to say. And I get that. But instead of like saying, if you need anything, let me know, just show up, just do it. Just deliver it to somebody without them asking, because that kindness goes such a long way. Now, growing up in Stony Creek, I'm friends with a lot of people in the Croatian community. Mm-hmm. And when we had my dad's celebration of life, my one friend, Christina, she reached out and said, we're going to take care of all the food. We're going to take care of making all the sandwiches and everything. And then my mom and I were like, what? And then there was that little ounce of generosity that like made our lives easier. Mm-hmm. And it was nice knowing that other people cared, right? Those little things.
Some people come out of the woodwork, right?
Yeah.
And it's you've got your friends and your family, but I mean, I think everyone kind of has a different definition of what family really
It's
is.
funny you say that, because like once when my dad got sick, a few things happened. You really realize who your true family is and isn't. And my definition of the word family 100% changed when that happened.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Friends go into hiding, friends come out, and it's a lot of times it's the ones you don't expect that are showing up. right?
Yeah.
And those little kind gestures, you don't forget. And the other night somebody messaged me who got my book, and she was going through a rough time. She found my Facebook, and she messaged me a big long thing, and I wrote back. And she wrote back and apologized. I'm sorry for taking your time, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, like, please, let's talk, right? Because we're not going to bring your loved one back. It's not going to happen. But I know you just need an ear to talk to, specifically somebody who's been through what you just went through. And I will always take the time to do that. And I suggest everybody take the time to do that, because my life goal is to help create a world that I want to live in, right? And it's just to spread that.
Yeah. No, it's very insightful. Do we want to take a break right now, or do we want to keep rolling, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, let's take a quick break.
Take a quick break. All right, folks, we'll take a quick break. Stay tuned. We're going to stay live, and I'd like to get into Friends with Hearts. With
Yeah,
Jay
baby.
Perry.
I love that program.
Let's do it. All right, we'll be right back.
And now, back to the Renovating Life podcast.
And we're back. How many people are watching here? I hope we got a few people.
1 million people.
1 million people. Jay Perry in studio. We're having a great conversation, and I'd love to get into your charity. Back in, I guess, 2011, you started this incredible charity to help.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah.
You should see the picture of him back in 2011. Holy cow. Looked like a baby.
Oh, he's a lot sexier now, I think.
Right? Friends with Hearts. I mean, you well, go into it. What is Friends with Hearts all about?
Yeah. So back in 2011, we started the organization Friends with Hearts, which in its simplest form is we help give kids in need a Christmas. Where it started from was I had returned from my first mission trip in Haiti, and somebody said to me, "Why are you going down there to help and not helping in your community?" And I wanted to tell them to shut up.
Yeah.
But I kind of left, and it kind of stuck with me a little bit. And I remember a few months later, I found this photo from Christmas where I was holding a Ghostbusters car, and I could somehow...
the Echo one?
Yeah.
Ecto one.
Ecto one. I mean, I have
can't-
no idea.
I remember...
Greg's back there going, fuck, I wish I had a Ghostbusters soundbite right now.
Not enough sound bites.
I could feel the joy that I had that day. And remember how...
Some just fell off the ceiling.
Did it? Oh, yeah, it was 2 pieces of soundproof. Ah, fuck it.
We're under attack.
Yeah. Yeah. The windows there.
Yeah, did it hit me?
No.
So, yeah, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, kids, Christmas.
Yeah, kids, Christmas, came
okay,
back
so,
from Haiti.
I remember looking at this photo and thinking how happy I was, and that, I was fortunate to be in a position that my parents could, buy that for me. But what struck with me is that there's a lot of kids who don't get to feel what I felt that day. So I said, I would love to do something about that. But what I wanted to do was one of the biggest things I learned in Haiti was how the obvious of how financially poor they are, but what caught me off guard was how socially rich they are. The community element there is insane. They are all one, they help each other out when they can, but they are all social butterflies. It's crazy. So what I wanted to do in Canada, where here we are financially rich, but so socially poor. Mm-hmm. I mean, myself included, we don't say hi to our neighbor. We walk past everybody every day without acknowledging them. That would never happen in Haiti. So how do you bring a social element back to Canada? Well, sure, I could go sponsor a family at Christmas and call it a day, but let's do it as a community. Let's get my friends involved. And the idea was so small. I called up the Children's Aid and said, how much does it cost to sponsor a family at Christmas? How do we do it? And they said it's going to be about $250. to do that. So I reached out on Twitter.
For family.
For family, yeah. And I reached out on Twitter and said, do 9 other people want to donate $25 and we can sponsor a family at Christmas? And the replies I got were instant, and so many just, I'm in. I mean, Friends with Hearts wasn't even born there then. This was just something we wanted to do as a couple buddies,
right?
Take care of a family. So the goal that year was $250 in one family, and we ended up sponsoring that family plus a larger family. Ended up raising, it was just a little over $1,400 that year, very easily too. From the kindness of these friends. But that right there was like, I knew there was something here. And it was also because the joy that I felt being able to help out individuals, and we get to do it as this group, that I was like, because it's always my mind, and how can we make things bigger? So I'm like, well, let's do it again next year. But this thing needs a name, this group. And it just came to me instantly, Friends with Hearts, because that's what it was. It was a bunch of friends who have these giant hearts who want to see kids have a Christmas. So that's basically how it was born. And it's grown every single year. The group that,
quite a lot.
Yeah, so the group that I run is partnered now with Good Shepherd in Hamilton.
Okay.
And just to kind of clarify, Friends with Hearts is not a charity. It's really nothing. And when you boil it down,
is it like a foundation,
it's absolutely
a program, really?
Nothing. We call it an organization just to give it a name, but you don't need Friends with Hearts to help these families. We hope what we're doing is maybe encouraging people to want to help out somebody somewhere. Right?
So are you donating to the Good Shepherd?
Yeah, so any funds that come in, we go out and buy gifts, and all of our gifts go to the families under the Good Shepherd's wing. That's how it works. So, but since then, we've had Friends with Hearts group pop up in cities all over North America.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. And it started out in Vancouver. So we've had chapters in Vancouver, Toronto, Cornwall, Niagara, Milton, and New York City. So that's kind of cool that we've been able to spread out there. And every single person who runs that group, I know personally, which is kind of cool.
This is all a spin-off from what you started.
Yeah, so like Friends with Hearts is no more Friends with Hearts. It's Friends with Hearts Hamilton. It's Friends with Hearts New York City. Friends with Hearts Toronto. Because if somebody's like, I want to give money to Friends with Hearts, it's like, okay, well, where to specifically do you want to go? And so we try to get these friends together, and who's ever running it, to raise funds for their hometown, basically. So if I were to ever move, I would always raise funds for Hamilton, which, born and raised here.
Right.
But yeah, since then we've been able to, like that first year, I think we helped 7 people, but to date it's, I don't know, a few thousands of kids we've been able to give a Christmas to, which is incredible.
And you get your friends together and wrap all the gifts yourselves, right?
Yeah, that's like one of
quite
the
an undertaking
things that I love to do. Yes, I started this idea in 2011, but it would not be impossible to do without like a list of individuals who make this happen. It's definitely a community, Friends with Hearts. It's a we thing. When we purchase all these gifts, we bring them to a location and we call on the community to volunteer and help wrap these gifts. And that started our first wrapping party in 2012. So 2011, there's a photo of me on the website in front of all these gifts, and every single gift my mom wrapped. I suck at wrap, so she wrapped the like 18,
I can't.
The like 17 or 18 gifts that there were, right? And that was cool. But then year 2,
Craig, can you pull up that picture? Just go to Friends with Hearts.
We got the community together to do it, and we had about 11 people there, maybe, and that was cool. But it's grown and grown every year, where we're now getting like cool dignitaries from the city out, hundreds of people coming out, and unfortunately we couldn't do it last 2 years because of COVID. But before that, 2019, 2018,
you couldn't do it at all.
No.
Oh, you couldn't have people.
We couldn't do the wrapping party.
Right.
We still did the drive.
Yeah.
But the cool thing that started to happen at these wrapping parties was it started happening in 2016. where my niece and nephew came out. And then 2017, some more kids came out. 2018, and if you look at the photo from like 2018, 2019, right in the front, it's littered with young kids.
Yeah.
And to me, that is so powerful because I don't know about you guys, but I grew up in Stony Creek, so I grew up in a middle-class family. We always, we weren't super rich, we weren't poor, but we always had Christmas. But I never really knew there were people next door down the street that didn't have Christmas. I never really knew that idea. So one thing that we are hoping we can do is instill this charitable mindset at a young age in these kids. So when they grow up, they're already starting off really early with this idea that like, I'm very fortunate in the position that I'm in, but somebody else isn't, and I want to do my best to help them.
Right.
And to see all these kids coming out now to wrap the gifts and be a part of it, that is huge. Because the wrapping party is also cool too, because there's a lot of people like, you know what, I can't afford to give. I want to help out. What else can I do? It's like, well, we have this day where people come out and actually put their hands on the items and wrap these gifts for these kids.
Yeah.
So Dan wanted a picture of it.
Oh,
we can't put it up here.
Okay.
Because I have to tell Greg how to do it. So it's going to be on the live stream. Is that the picture you're talking about?
Yeah, so that top one from 2011.
Yeah.
My mom wrapped all those gifts, and that's
Good
how
job.
many people we sponsored versus the pic from 2018.
Right.
That's how much it's grown, and all
That's
those
awesome.
kids at the bottom. I mean, that just like warms my heart to see all those people, kids involved.
So did they
Shelley
come and
Linehan's
pick their gifts up
No.
while you were there? Or
So
did
Is
you
that Bob
drop them off?
Bertina?
It's Bob Bertina. Yeah.
Bobby.
I got a funny story on how he's involved. So no, those kids aren't the kids receiving the gifts.
No,
okay.
yeah, they're
Those
helping.
are volunteers.
Yeah, those are volunteer. Those
I
are.
can tell that's Shelley Linehan's daughter. There, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shelley
I
and
used to
Tyler
work with
are
her.
massive supporters. So they come out and help wrap because their parents also want to put these values in them at a young age, and this is a great opportunity for them to give back.
Right. I have a couple questions about that, just sort of logistically. Like, how do you know what toys to buy? Who buys the toys? You know, like
Up until
that's a massive undertaking now. You see
It's-
that mountain of toys, let alone wrapping.
Yeah,
Like,
it's tough. My accountant has told me for the past 5 years not to do Friends with Hearts anymore because I basically take off the month of November and lose a lot of work, but it's worth it. So up until 2016, Good Shepherd was giving us these lists, and it would say stuff like male, age 4, couple sizes, and a small wish list of what they want. You know, female, age 2, here's her sizes. And again, small wish list. She likes Barbies. She's like this, and this.
so these are being bought specifically for individual families. You're
Right.
not just buying globally.
Right.
here's-
So-
yeah.
Okay, so I've got this weird job where I got a lot of time off. Okay, so I only work on average 15 to 17 shifts a month. So this November, if you need a hand driving around and buying shit.
Well, okay. So
Like-
I'll get to how it works now.
Oh, okay.
So that was up until 2016 or 2015, one of those years. And then the following year, we raised, so much money where I called Good Shepherd and said, hey, we have X amount of dollars. Can you send us the family lists? And they kind of said, well, you have more money. You've raised more money than families that we have. We don't have enough for that.
Mm-hmm.
So it turned into a good problem because what happened after that was then we just bought generically. We had raised so much money that it was in the best interest of us as well as Good Shepherd to just buy generic stuff because they had volunteers around the city to take care of those lists.
Mm-hmm.
Now, every family doesn't get a list that needs it. They have families in Good Shepherd that didn't register in time, but still will get gifts. Social workers will make packages from our gifts to give to them. So what had happened was we actually partnered with Mastermind Toys in Ancaster.
Oh, nice.
In I think it was 2017. What they do is they close the store down for us at night, and we all go in, and I say,
That's just down the street for me.
yeah. And I say we go in and shopping. I go in and take pictures. Well, my mom and her crew, my mom, her best friend Darlene, my aunt goes in there too.
Your mom's the cutest.
Yeah, it's like they all wear like their Friends with Heart shirts. It's their way of helping and being involved and shopping. So you have these 4 or 5 ladies going around and
shopping for children.
So we,
And you know what I'm imagining? Do you remember that game show when we were kids? But it was a supermarket.
Supermarket sweep.
They're all crashing their carts into people, and they're trying to get
Honestly,
the
My mom and I used to watch it all the time.
It's almost the same, because what happens, like each lady,
Tell me you fire a gun, boom, and they're like, whoa.
they each get, so Mastermind puts extra staff on, and then each staff goes with one individual. So you'll see them walking around, and they'll have like mountains. They go around with not like buggies, but actual like big carts.
Yeah.
Where they can just stuff toys on. So there's a few.
That just sounds fun.
Yeah, and Mastermind gives us a great deal, and there's actually videos every year. We do like a long receipt video where I video the whole receipt
I've
coming
seen
out,
that.
and it's like we spend like $25,000 there on just toys for these kids. So we'll get like 12 of each item, and then those items go into Good Shepherd, and the social workers will come and be like, okay, like I have these kids under my wing, put packages together. But my belief at Christmas, if I'm talking too much,
no,
feel free
no, it's all good. No, I love it.
My belief at Christmas is that every child should have at least one toy under the tree. Mm-hmm. But what Friends with Hearts also does is takes care of life necessities, clothing, diapers. We got mounds of diapers all the time.
Formula.
Yeah, stuff like that. Gift cards for food and stuff like that, because that's important. And it was like when we were getting these family lists, we'd get it, and it'd be like 3-year-old male winter boots. That's what they would want for Christmas. Obviously, the parent did that, but he'd start to think like, would this kid not have had winter boots this year in Canada if like someone didn't help them out? And that's so sad, to see that.
When I see the mountain of toys that my kids get, and God bless my wife, if it wasn't for her, my kids wouldn't have a Christmas either. But I mean, there's no appreciation for having 1,000 toys under.
No, they
under
just
the tree.
rip it. Oh yeah, and throw it.
They don't use half of them, right? And what I try to instill in my kids is how lucky they are to be able to have an abundance of these things, but more importantly, how much better would it be, and how much better would it feel to give it away? When you said involving the kids, I mean, I think that's really important. I think it's the more kids you get involved in this program, the better.
Yeah, and we experience a lot of that. There's so many different ways that you can donate to Friends with Hearts, and there's actually one individual. He takes his son like kind of online shopping, and he's like he wants his son to pick out toys for other kids.
Yeah.
To know what it's like to buy for other kids. That idea. Hey, this kid doesn't have much. Let's go buy some stuff for him. And I think that's really cool that kind of element is happening with this. And we are helping the kids, but I think we're helping the parents a lot too. I'm not a parent. You guys are. I have no idea what it would be like not being able to provide for my child, but I can imagine it's devastating, especially if the kid is going to school with other kids who are going to come next day with stuff. And like we get some slack sometimes on this whole materialistic thing, on consumerism.
Sure.
What you're doing is wrong. And I expect that the bigger you grow, you get that.
What's the alternative though? You do nothing, right?
Yeah.
Steve's flashing the score the Leaf game for nothing.
Where are we at? Shutout.
That's a real tragedy.
Goalie
Leafs are winning.
Brewing.
Some fucking rookie gets a shutout. Anyways, keep going. Sorry, Jay.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting is I didn't realize what we were actually doing with Friends with Hearts until a few years ago, maybe like 2 years ago and 3 years ago. Up until then, I thought we were just giving kids a Christmas, which is fine, which is what we set out to do. But I had like one of those weird aha moments when I was watching a documentary. Have you guys seen the Bill Gates documentary that was on Netflix?
No, it's on the list.
Okay.
Yep.
Have you seen?
No.
I haven't seen it.
Not yet.
So I watched. This won't give it away or anything, but I was watching it, and he was running, or he was trying to figure out how to do some sort of sanitation system, some sort of like porta potty. I think it was in Africa, and he realized that he wasn't smart enough to come up with a way to do it. So he put it out there and was like, hey, if whoever can come up with a way to basically get people to go to the washroom in the middle of nowhere where we can't run plumbing, I'm going to give you X amount of dollars to do it. And these
To figure it out.
Yeah, these geniuses of competition, right?
Yep.
So these geniuses came up with this insane way to do it, and they won the contest, and they got all this money. It was from some university. Now, what that made me realize is I'm a very self-aware person. Made me realize how stupid I am. I don't want to say the word stupid, but I'm not.
We're all stupid at something.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the word is,
Just-
but I'm not insanely intelligent. And my goal is always to make this world a better place. But I'm not smart enough to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm being very self-aware. You know, I'm just not smart enough. I don't know how to create a toilet in the middle of nowhere,
Right.
but people do.
Yeah.
Not me. So
Reaching out to people in that.
what I realize,
It's
what we're
who,
doing
not
with
how.
Friends with Hearts is this, is that what I'm hoping we're doing, it's no, it's no question, or it's not a surprise that a lot of individuals, especially young kids who grow up in poverty, end up turning to drugs, crime, and it's all about their environment and situation that is leading them down one path. So what we're hoping is that we are catching these people
At a young age.
at a fork in the road, right? And they're at this point in their life where it's like, I can go this way and I can go that way. And if we show them love and that there's kindness out there and people are taking care of them, then they might go down that road. And now it's little Sarah that's going to find a cure for cancer. It's little Johnny that's going to find a cure for AIDS.
That's interesting.
It's
Yeah,
fun-
you're
and
very
it's-
true. Yeah.
and
It's
it-
funny he says that. Like, I'm not going to say which high school my sister works at, but it's not a quote unquote good high school. Okay. And I always asked her, I'm like, why the fuck are you teaching there? You could teach anywhere. And she's like, Steve, I love teaching here because if just that one kid moves on to be a doctor,
Yes.
or be an engineer or whatever, like just goes on, and then I hear that story of that they've pulled themselves out of that situation you're talking about, and then I was like, it's like, makes sense.
Yeah. Sometimes
I get it.
hope and a direction in life can be planted as a seed when you're a kid.
Very young, or
Yeah.
not even young, like
And,
it could happen in high school.
Tony
You just-
Robbins actually
you
has
just
a
need that one
very
person.
interesting story, if you know who Anthony Robbins is, where he was growing up poor, and there was a family, I guess, that was sponsored, to support them on Thanksgiving, and they came to the door with the Thanksgiving dinner, and his dad just slammed the door in his face because he looked at that as himself as a failure. But how it impacted Tony was that people are willing to give and to help. And that planted a seed in his head that, I mean, look at him now, right? But that's very interesting.
It's funny because like my mom has been the biggest Friends with Hearts supporter since day one, by far.
Sure.
And I never knew why until a couple years into it. And same thing happened to her when she was younger. Poor family.
Oh.
Salvation Army showed up to her house, and the family got a basket of food, but she got a doll. She had one gift that Christmas from the Salvation Army, and it was a doll.
Wow.
And she still remembers that Christmas.
So you
as one of
started
her
this
famous
without
things.
even knowing
I had
it.
no clue.
That's amazing.
No clue for so many years why she was so gung-ho about wanting to be involved. And it was that specific reason. So anything that, I like to do is to help kids succeed in life and give them an opportunity to see. Because I think that our age, it's a little too late for us. It's funny, but like everything
To have a Christmas, you mean?
to I don't know. The older you get, the harder it is to learn a new skill. I know
Sure.
it's not impossible, but like if we want to get like nerdy and neuroplasticity and stuff like that,
Sure.
That's why like if we give these kids the environment to succeed, I think the world will be an insanely better place. And we can all be responsible for amazing things happening in the future if we really put the hope into these kids and give them the environment to succeed in. And I know we were talking about before, and I was talking about like the whole housing crisis that we're in, and I think that's one of the biggest factors. Is that a lot of kids are growing up in horrible situations,
Yes.
and your environment.
I see it all the time.
And
with
your
homes
environment
that I
plays
go
such a
into.
big role in that.
Well,
And even-
Steve has been
even-
looking into something here.
So even the homelessness, right?
Yeah.
It's horrible in Hamilton. So I was, I'm pretty active on Twitter from one of my quote unquote 5 Twitter accounts that I
Burner
have.
accounts.
So I follow this lady, Laura Babcock.
I know the name.
Yeah, she's on, she used to be on like Channel 14, but she has her own show called The O Show now or whatever. So she was talking about that tiny shelters, the Hamilton Alliance for Tiny Shelters. So as I read up on it, I messaged her out of the blue. I've never talked to her before, and I thought, man, this chick's not going to message me back, right? And I said to her, hey, can you put me in contact with the guy that's running this program? Not like 5 minutes went by, and she's like, okay, awesome. Send me all your info. So this guy ended up calling me like on a Monday. His name's Ted McMeekin. He's an old Liberal MPP from Ancaster, Flamborough, Dundas, like way back in the day. And after talking to him, and then I talked to Dan afterwards, and we're going to donate the money to build one of the 20 that they want to build. And I even got our contractor to get on Dan's face there. See that hat he's wearing, JDT Construction? So him and his right-hand man and me and Dan are also going to volunteer time to put one of these shelters together.
Sweet.
And I was like,
I'm going to burn them down and collect the insurance. But
yeah, I was actually
I'm not
like, I
that
felt a
nice.
little embarrassed that I could only donate enough money for one. And after talking to the guy, he was like, no, don't be like, anything helps. He's like, don't be embarrassed. He's like, you're one of 600,000+ people in Hamilton that want to help. Where the fuck is everyone else?
Yeah, I think it's probably the first one's also the hardest to get going, right?
Oh yeah, he's been having problems with the city, like because he'll come up with a site and they'll be like, oh no, we don't want it there, or like they want to do it at SJam downtown,
Okay.
and they keep like blocking him. But I think the reason they're blocking him is because they want to clean up downtown, right? So why are we going to put all these homeless people downtown? Well, that's fucking bullshit. The walkability of downtown's great. Right. You can go to stores. There's grocery stores. There's restaurants. There's public bathrooms.
Not to mention it, even just from like optically, like it looks better than a bunch of tents kicking around and stuff too, and it's better for them, right?
Well, Kitchener did it, and it's been a success since. And they just keep building these temporary tiny shelters.
And I think they got to do something about it soon because there's going to be a lot more homeless people in the next few years.
When you look at the house pricing, when you look at the rents, and here's the thing. Okay, so we are real estate investors, and now we're the devil, right? Because we can get so much rent, but half the problem is it's not that what we can get; it's what we're being. If I put like our main floor unit on East 44, for example, for rent for $1,000 a month, we're gonna get 1,000 applicants. You know.
Yeah, but it's going to turn into a bidding war anyways.
It's going to go into a bidding war anyway. Yeah,
we're going to get the 23 or 2400.
We're still not even taking the top. Like with our lower level unit, we still took less than we could have because we liked the couple.
Yeah, so it's a young couple.
Yeah.
It's actually the daughter of the guy that lives next door.
Okay.
When he found out the people in the basement were moving out, he contacted me and asking how much, and me and him were humming and hawing over like what to offer them. And I'm like, it's a young couple. She's 19, he's 20. Like, he's just starting a trade. She's just starting in the work world. I'm like, they're good people.
We could get $200 more a month, but
easily.
I feel better about it this way.
Oh, 100%, because I'm kind of, I don't know, helping them start their life out.
Yeah.
Was that my computer? Shit.
Or is that Greg playing with us?
Steve, that was your wife sharing a post
On Facebook?
on Facebook.
What did she do?
But that's fine. She's doing a good thing. It's just the notification that came through.
Oh, like she's sharing the live feed?
Oh,
gonna
that's
mute
nice,
it.
man.
Like, where the fuck was she an hour ago when we started?
She,
I still love you, baby, if you're
she
watching.
could be watching.
But no, I think that's amazing that you guys are, helping out
Man,
those people.
You
I'll be
always have to
I'll be
do
dead
something,
honest with
right.
you. If we're a young company, we're 2 years into it. If I could afford, or we could afford to put all 20 up, I would have done it.
Right.
But we can't.
Yeah.
Financially, we can't.
Well, it's the world is contagious, right? They'll see one go up, and if they see how enthusiastic you are behind it, people want to get involved with the second one, and then the third. That's what I found happened with Friends with Hearts. Is it's just snowballed, right? Because there's so much enthusiasm behind it that's the reason why it worked. But I have an idea on this housing crisis that I would love to share with you guys and
Okay.
get
I'd
your
love to hear
honest feedback about it. So I think the first thing you've got to figure out is what is the problem.
The
Is
biggest problem
is
it's the price of
it
everything.
But why is it greed? Probably there's probably some greed, inflation. Yeah, I mean, there is so many different problems, and like, I'm not against people making money. I think everybody should make as much money as they can. I have a problem with when it comes at other people's livelihoods. That's the only issue that I have. So I think what we're trying to solve in this housing crisis is the insane price of houses, right? That they're going for and rents.
Okay, it is
But-
insane. Like, we just did a townhouse.
Mm,
Townhouse.
yeah.
We bought it for X. We listed it for Y, hoping for Y 1.1. Okay. And it's sold to people.
I'll share the numbers. We bought it for $450.
Yeah.
We expected to spend about $50,000 to $60,000,
Yeah.
and we expected to make hopefully
About
between-
25.
No.
Originally.
No.
'Cause it was gonna
we
be a quick
expected
one.
to make between probably 50 and 75.
Okay.
Then the offers started coming in, and then they start battling, and next thing you know, it sells for like $710,000. I'm not turning that down.
No, I didn't know.
Know what I mean?
Nor should you.
And but here's the thing too. So talking about let's actually do the math. So the BRRRR strategy amongst investors is a very common phrase: buy, renovate, refinance, and rent. So what does that mean? We're buying a home that needs to be renovated. So say let's use a standard bungalow on the Hamilton Mountain. First of all, there's such huge demand, right? So that's driving prices up. Now I have to spend $200,000 to fix it up. So I've already spent $700,000. Now I'm $900,000 in. I want to get some of my money back. I'm going to refinance it. Now my mortgage is costing me $3,000 to $4,000 a month. I got to cover it, right? That's where the rents come in, right?
Yeah.
And that's how it's being affected. So it's either have a nice place to live or live in a shithole. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I've been in real estate for 12 years now, and I've seen some situations where this is an illegal fourplex.
Oh, like Cochrane? Remember that one?
Well, yeah. But like I've seen like multi-unit properties where I'm standing in the basement like this,
Yeah.
staring at a mother and a daughter who live in this illegal basement. This was well before Hamilton took off. This was 12 years ago. And they're living like this. And the owner is not fixing up the property. And the reason is if they spend $100,000 to fix that property, they're spending $100,000. They're not getting any of it back. And this industry doesn't attract a lot of philanthropy unless you're at a big scale, I don't think. Right? And
we're trying to change that.
Well,
we're trying to change that, but I mean, there's so many people that wanting to, they watch HGTV, and next thing you know, they want to be the next Scott McGilvery, and boom,
That's why I think we're trying to solve the wrong problem, and we are never going to solve this market issue, or whatever you want to call it. So I think we got to look at it a little bit differently. And the idea I had came to me on the kind of technology side. I don't know if you guys are into the whole trend, the cryptocurrency trend and whatnot.
A little bit.
So I've been in it now for about six months. So still fairly new, but learning a lot. And then dove deep into the NFT world, learning a lot about that.
Actually, that's an interesting space for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So the one thing that kind of struck me one day is, like, why don't you sell a house as an NFT? And started looking into that and researching it a little bit, how that could work on the blockchain, because unfortunately, I don't think realtors will be around in 10 years. Or the ones that will be around have adapted to the new technologies.
Sure.
Because blockchain is going to insanely improve transparency in so many areas in the real estate world, which I think is needed. But I started researching a little bit of this NFT in the housing market, and there was a podcast these two realtors did about, I'm going to say only 6 months ago, where someone had brought this idea up. Can you sell a house as an NFT? And they basically laughed the idea off. I'll have to find it and see if I can.
That's
send
almost
you the
how you
link.
know it's good,
right?
No, it's a good idea, but not for them.
They were laughing at it, and they said, if you guys are realtors, don't even waste your time. This is not going to work. Well, sure enough, houses are selling as NFTs now, and that's only been 6 months to happen. There's a company called Propy that are doing this exact thing and selling as PROPY. That are doing this exact thing, and they've done all the research on it, and there's still a ton of questions about it. So what got me going was the idea on how smart contracts are attached to NFTs, and someone said, you should sell a piece of your art as an NFT, because every time it switches hands, you get a percentage of that money depending on how you implement that smart contract.
I didn't know that. So the original, like the creator,
will always get a
earn
percentage.
Residuals off that.
If you set that up,
it's like
that
a royalty,
way,
right?
Yeah, in that smart contract.
Okay.
Which is cool, because if you sell a painting, that painting can switch 10 times, but the original creator only got that initial.
Right.
It's like on Dragon's Den when they invest in Jay, for instance, and what's his name, Mr. Fucking Wonderful there says, I'll give you this
Kevin
much,
O'Leary.
and I want it all back at this percentage, but when the contract's done, I wanted a 1.5% royalty.
Royalty, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Same shit.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. So what if you sold a house? So this would only work in brand new builds, and this really kind of worked before inflation went crazy and wood costs was, but this is just a problem that might have to be solved, because I
May also be temporary.
Yeah. I graduated from Mohawk College studying architecture. So, building homes was my thing back in the day. Did nothing with it. But I know how less expensive it was to build a brand new home versus, gutting and renovating and doing the whole thing, buying a new house. You can get it for a lot cheaper. Again, before inflation. I don't know what it would be now.
Right.
But
Fucking asinine.
We're going through a new build right now.
I can imagine.
It's a lot.
But what if you took that smaller cost, and let's say we figure out the problem of the inflation, and maybe it's a different type of home. Maybe it's a container home or something that you can turn into something like really cool, right? And you sell it, and the builder only makes $10,000 off it, right? So this
But-
here was
But every time,
well, here
hold on.
Here was my idea, was because I'm not a home builder and not in the game for a job, and I'm just going to throw numbers out here, meaning lesser or higher, not specifics or anything, right?
Just for a frame of reference.
Yeah.
Yep.
So a 20-year-old home is selling for $500,000. Same home you could build for $250,000. Let's just say somewhere. Again, numbers aren't specific, but meaning cheaper or higher. Well, you build that home for $250,000, and you find a deserving family with kids, and you sell to them for $260,000, because the odds of them getting that mortgage will increase versus them getting a mortgage for $500,000 or double the price or whatever, right?
Right.
And me, I make $10,000. I'm happy. Everyone got paid. I don't need to make a ton of cash. Perfect. Problem solved. Family's in there. But unfortunately, what's the family going to do? Well, it's a hot market. Well, now I'm going to sell this for $500,000, and I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to get all this money back. Well, because money talks, right? Well, now the family's back to square one. So that doesn't work. But what if you put in a smart contract and said, here, you can have this house for $260,000. If you need to sell it, 97.5% comes to me. So that kind of stops them from wanting to sell it. Because if they really, really
Or
cared,
at least removes this is my biggest asset
exactly
portion of it.
And I understand that you should have assets for the future, but we need to stop looking at homes as a privilege and make it into a right for people, for these kids to succeed in a great environment.
Yeah.
So what if we can get them in there? And I don't know, if they say, like, well, I want an asset, I want to, well, you didn't have one anyways. So this is just a better situation for your kids. Look at your kids. And maybe in the smart contract, you work out, if you sell it in 20 years, it's yours. If you sell it in 10 years, it's yours. But somehow you work
what this does? Sorry, is it encourages builders to build more. This is a long-term capital realization for the builder, but we're not capitalized. You know what most people do is actually they take their equity and they buy stupid shit, right? So it forces people just to, like, okay, this is my home, but then I earn money to buy other things as opposed to just leveraging the perceived value of my home to buy stupid shit or sell it and make a ridiculous amount of money.
We're going to have Bill on the show. I don't want to say where he works or who he works for yet.
A local big builder. But one of the things we want to talk to him about is all the fucking red tape downtown. Because he lives 2 doors down from me and we shoot the shit all the time. And he's like, Steve, we could build 5 times more houses than we're building now, or 5 times more 6-level wood frame multi-units or whatever the fuck. Right. Way faster, but we got to deal with those people.
Yeah. Well, that's the biggest issues that I've come across in my thinking is all the red tape, especially with the government around the Web3 space. It's so new to them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there are going to be a lot of people that don't get paid once blockchain gets involved in the real estate world, right? Because you're going to eliminate a lot of people. So you're right. Yeah. The government could be losing some money on this. And how do they get their money is what you have to kind of figure out. One of the reasons why I wanted to kind of like share this with you as well is to get your feedback. People listening, tell me why this will fail, because I want to solve those answers. I'm not smart enough to do this. I'm not to run the business side, to run the numbers. I don't know. So, and again, why give this away? Because I'll tell you why, is because I feel like there's nobody out there that would have the enthusiasm or the will or the drive to be behind this as much, and they will fail. There's so many charitable organizations that fail because they do it because they want that piece of paper. They want that be on that board, and they failed because they realize how much hard work it is. And I'm not afraid to tell people my ideas because I know that they will probably fail at it as well.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense. So there's so many different areas and where I'm thinking, like, it's crazy because like I listened to a recent podcast and they were like, okay, well, if you sell your house as an NFT, do you have to pay in crypto? And they're like, yeah, unfortunately right now you do. They're using something called a stable coin to purchase it. And it's like, well, what if you need a mortgage? There are companies right now that are getting all the tech in place to be like a crypto lending company.
There's people out there now that could privately lend you the crypto.
For sure. So that's kind of what's happening. I think the recent house sold for like $600,000 US was all paid in ETH. And what they had done with that house was, I think it was the virtual open house, and they had an inspector come in beforehand and put all of the information on the blockchain. So it was legit. All the information about the house was on the blockchain. So it was all legit. That people were bidding on it from around the world. Mm-hmm. Right now, what they're doing is not solving the housing crisis. They're finding another way to solve houses or home, like selling houses.
Fucking another one fell, eh? Clearly, the double-sided tape's not working.
The glue sucks.
Yeah.
But all of this has got my brain thinking on how can we utilize NFTs, crypto, to help families who need an amazing space for their kids to grow up in.
It's such a hard topic to talk about because builders can't build enough homes for natural population growth.
Right.
Yeah, they're talking in Ontario.
Adding
alone, $1.5 million new homes in the next 10 years, but that's not enough. We're bringing in over 400,000 new immigrants every year. Canada.
So Ontario's going to end up. Yeah, Ontario's going to end up with 50% of them because I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. Immigration goes on a population density basis bullshit. So Ontario's got what, quote unquote, 50% of Canada's population. It's pretty damn close. 30, 35,
a third,
one third,
at least.
Okay, so 400,000 people are coming into the country. We're going to get one third of that.
Yeah.
But they're only building 1.5 million homes in 10 years.
Right.
That's not enough.
No.
That's not enough for me. I'm a family with 3 kids.
Yeah.
We're running short on land. Right. I mean, that's the other problem too, is that where do you even build?
Okay. So I understand.
Physically, we have the land, but we have buildable land we're running out of.
There needs to be like a happy medium of like rural expansion or urban boundary expansion.
Yeah.
But the core needs to go up. Hamilton needs to go
totally
up.
They're talking about LRT. We should be having a subway, frankly. We should have a full subway system and
I think
better transit from on the mountain to below. And we should be further intensifying the downtown core.
Yeah, but the LRTs should be a segue into realizing you need a subway. I know right now we need a fucking subway system.
Yeah, right.
We need some underground fucking train to go from downtown to Lime Ridge, from downtown to Meadowlands, downtown to Aldershot, downtown to Eastgate.
Yep.
Yep.
Where else? Maybe downtown to Confederation.
Yeah.
Maybe could put a couple side trains in there. But
yeah, there's so many issues that have to be solved. I mean, I think it's like in Nordic countries, they're doing a lot of that cohabitat living. All the families are kind of living in one thing.
That's happening here. That's happening here with immigrants.
Right? They're trying to bring it here. And honestly, like, I don't know. It's not for me. I don't think that's a sustainable solution.
What you have is people from other countries where they're totally comfortable having 3 or 4 families living in a 3,000 square foot home. Ask Greg's neighbor that lives behind him, right? Like, seriously.
Yeah.
You have people behind you now?
No, but like kind of. You know, it's
the one house
shaped lot.
is 2,000 square feet, and there's 9 people in it.
Oh,
wow!
How many cars on the front lawn? You know what I mean? There's no parking.
Oddly, they only have 2 cars.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah,
it's a crowd for sure.
Yes, I don't think that's a solution.
No.
And it's just what is the solution is the tough part. And I think it's got to be a new build, right? Because
Supply.
Yeah,
We need more supply, and
Well, we
they
need-
need to cut red tape.
Oh, it's the red tape is crazy.
Yes.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Like what Ken say to us today?
Well,
8 to 10
okay.
weeks for a fucking permit? Like, come on.
6 to 8. So we have a
That should be done in a day.
we have a project in Stony Creek. It's a single family home. Original plan was to just flip it. Right? It needs a lot of work.
Until
But-
the neighbor pissed me off.
And we decided to duplex it and rent it. So, but we're doing a full underpinning of the house, and there's potential for expansion for an accessory dwelling unit in the back, meaning a garden suite or whatever. So we'll be adding 2 units, or we'll be adding an additional unit, meaning we're adding another home for somebody to live, with the potential for a third, right? I mean, it's costing us a fortune, but I mean, just we have like engineered stamped drawings, right? Like these are good to go, and just to get the approval, 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow.
It's costing us a fortune just to hold the property as is, to get moving on it. Why can't we have somebody there who's expediting the process, going, yeah, this looks good, get to work, we need housing?
Is that because there's so many plans waiting to be approved, or we
No.
don't know? No,
That's bullshit.
just
Yeah, I
somebody
don't think
waiting
so.
to
Absolute
get to it.
garbage.
We're doing all the work. It's not
Yeah.
like they're doing the drawings. They have to analyze it. How fucking long does it take to do that? I mean, I'm sorry, but like I swear they're doing it on purpose. And
It's job it's
there's so much redundancy.
job
in-
justification.
How much energy and money do we spend just to send people out and put fucking notices on doors because, oh my God, you took the drywall down in your house and we're going to shut you down.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
That's kind of what happened to us.
Yeah.
So we knew we needed to get legit drawings done. But to get those drawings done, we needed to open shit up. We needed to take the ceiling down, take the outside walls down. We needed to see how the second floor was built, because it was built without a permit. But then our job site got shut down because we were trying to do the right thing to make the house right. Like, okay, it was a mistake of ours. I didn't know demolition permits existed for that specific purpose.
So I did, but it's not like we were taking down load-bearing walls.
No, we were just
literally
investigating.
taking down walls so that we can do an exploratory, so that we can get an engineer in there to determine like what kind of beam that we needed to take down a wall. Right? This is purely cosmetic, and we're exposing old like knob and tube wiring and stuff. We're doing good things. We're going to be upping
Rewiring place.
Yeah, we're improving the insulation in the place, so it's going to be far more energy efficient, and it's going to be more appealing to it's going to be a safer home. Frankly,
Yeah.
we're spending our money, and the fucking city just sits there and twiddles their fucking thumbs, and
It
Fuck
took
you, we're gonna
it took
make
10
you wait.
days to get just the demolition permit.
Is the process still going down there to City Hall and dropping off physical
No,
plans?
dude, it's all online, and I swear to God, they hired a kid in kindergarten to develop the software to
brutal.
do this shit online. Like, I'm not going to mention her name. God bless her soul downtown. She's just a contact of mine in the planning department. And me and her talked probably for an hour and a half about how bullshit this fucking online software is. Because I'm the type of guy, I like going downtown, hand my drawings in, talk to the person that's going to be dealing with it, and you get to know them a bit. But this whole online shit's fucking garbage. And then you hand a drawing in, and then they give you a vague description of what to fix. So you still got to call someone downtown to decipher what bullshit they put in the 142 characters that they're allowed to put in that box. Like, it's crazy.
It's almost like there's jobs that exist just to exist. Like, my job is to be a pain in the ass, and I got to earn my paycheck.
Yeah.
It's true.
Like, it should be expedited to the point where you've hired a certified Hamilton contractor, you've hired a certified Hamilton engineering firm, and a certified architectural firm. And because it's certified, you should just get your permits.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that need to get audited by the city.
Mm-hmm.
So they just randomly pick a set of drawings they did for someone and audit those drawings.
Yeah. That'd be super cool. So
Just the electrical safety authority is like that. I'm an electrician by trade. So as an electrical company, you can be pre-certified.
Okay.
But you have to pull a permit on every job. But it's random on which jobs they inspect. So you have to do a good job every time.
So in the video world for drone operators, when you want to fly your drone, you got to apply for this thing called SFOC. And to Transport Canada, and once you get enough approvals, Transport Canada is just like, okay, here's a outstanding. Or we know you're legit.
Yeah, fly wherever the fuck you want. Permit.
Stop applying because we know you know what you're doing.
Yeah,
and I think that you're right. That should probably apply to a lot of the.
But if they do shit like that, you're gonna get what? You can't just fire everyone all at once, right? But over time, you're gonna end up with less jobs downtown.
100%.
Whereas and my wife works for a union. I get it, but the union doesn't want that.
No, I mean that's bad for a lot of different things.
It is, but look what the auto sector went through in the last 50 years.
But I think it's just inevitable that is going to happen. And if we don't...
it is inevitable.
Yeah, if we don't realize it now, I mean, robots are going to take over so many of our jobs.
Oh, hands down.
Right? It's already
that fucking
happening.
Elon Musk is going to fuck us all.
I love that, man.
So do I. What's Greg sending me?
I don't know.
I'm going to read it out loud.
You might not want to describe the last thing.
How did you download that so quick? Less city bitching, back to Jay. Never mind.
What did I send?
No, I'm not explaining that. I'm sorry. I can't.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that... what else we got?
There's so many problems
yeah.
with housing now and the prices. Like, you'll talk to my sister who thinks it's the fault is of all the Toronto people moving in, selling their place for 2 and buying a new place for 1. No, that's like 1/8.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another one. There's another one. There's another one. There's just so many problems.
Yeah. And it's how do you get it back to being a right versus a privilege? And I don't know that.
It's going to take a while.
It will.
Yeah.
And
it's going to take a long time.
I don't know if it'll ever get back there. It's scary. It's very scary.
That's interesting.
Like I said the same thing on Dave's podcast. Like, part of the reason, and don't take this the wrong way, part of the reason I'm doing what I'm doing with real estate is because I've realized my kids are not going to be able to buy a place close to home.
Yeah.
And like you were saying before, you're friends with a bunch of Croatian people. I'm Serbian. We're the same shit.
Yeah.
We're from the Balkans. We're very family oriented.
Yep.
And I feel the need to be close with my kids. And they're not going to be able to afford a place.
Yeah.
No way.
We know how to play the game.
Yeah.
Right? And we're looking out for
like what
our
James
kids.
getting to, there shouldn't be a fucking game to play.
Because I get that, but there is. Yeah.
You're gonna make money.
Here's the thing. We all went to school.
Yeah.
You know, I was told that I had to go to university if I wanted to learn how to have a career that could make money, which was bullshit.
Yeah.
And, you know, I make significantly more with everything that I learned outside of it because here's how it's played. And I'm looking after my kids. Mm-hmm. And now each one of my kids has a house already.
Like, just to expand on that, don't think Dan's an asshole here for playing the real estate market.
I'm an asshole.
It doesn't matter that
danandcarol.com if you want to sell your home.
It doesn't matter that
Buy,
the house
sell,
is worth $700,000 or $300,000. You put some money into it, you're going to make money coming out of it.
Right.
It's the pricing that's out of control.
Yes.
Because that same townhouse 3 years ago, we could have bought it for what, 200? Put the same amount of money in and sold it for 400.
Yeah.
But 400 is
all
so much
relative.
more affordable.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
the amount of
all
money
relative.
we're making on a flip
Yeah.
is
And,
the same. Doesn't matter.
And think
where the
about what we
pricing is.
did. It's not like we're just putting. Steve came up with a good term. We don't like to call our projects flips. We call them resto mods because we're actually improving the home
Right.
and making it safer.
Right.
Like we're removing bad wiring. We're making it structurally sound. We're getting rid of water problems, things like that. Cost money, and we put it for sale, and then people decide what they're willing to pay.
We always we get feedback from inspectors saying, "Holy shit, this is one of the best flips I've ever seen." No, dude, it's not a flip. Like we actually renovated the place.
Yeah.
We didn't slap some paint on the wall and put new floor without taking the trim off and that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Steve made one of the homes a smart home.
Yeah, I
so
did.
that
Wow.
Our
you
first
could-
one. Our first one together.
Yeah.
So you could walk in, say, Google, turn on the kitchen lights, and the fucking lights would go on.
I need to be able to drive past that home, and if I see kids there, know that they're in a good home. Because I've been through a lot of homes, and I've seen a lot of lipstick on a pig. I've talked clients out of buying homes that they thought they loved. I'm like, no, you're buying a piece of shit.
Right.
That's got new drywall over top of the garbage. It's,
Oh yeah, for sure.
And and situations like that, I think, are few and far because you guys are unfortunately working in an industry with a lot of scumbags, and
Sure.
I guarantee you guys will admit that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what's
no,
bringing.
I know.
We know some of
bringing
them.
the name down of what you
I'm
guys
not,
do.
I'm not going to say the
unfortunately.
names of people, but I know scumbags that
I know.
I've met.
I know what you're going to.
And they supply you garbage.
It's the whole idea of trust, right? And as I said before, I think everybody should make money. I mean, I saw this like TED Talk one time where this guy who is in the charitable space, but also talking about other people in the charitable space and like, why shouldn't they make money? And he made it an interesting comparison about a CEO of a video game company, and the video games are all about like murder and killing and all that. And that guy's okay to make $3 million a year, but the guy who helps individuals can't make $75,000 a year, and people go crazy, right? Those are the kind of things that like get going. But I think you work in a industry where there is a lot of scumbags, and I don't feel bad saying that word.
No, and
Because
don't
they're
feel
taking
bad.
advantage of some
feel bad.
amazing families,
Mhm.
right? That they're outpricing them because for whatever reason they think they need to make more money, and that's a problem. That's when greed has really taken over, and you kind of have to look, and it's like, okay, where is this problem? Is it the housing market in general, or like why do you have this greed? Why do you have this intense focus on making one more dollar
I think
and putting these people out on the street again? What went wrong in your childhood that we should help these kids not kind of want to experience that so they grow up to be those scumbags? I can go on forever.
I think particularly since like social media has really come to fruition, narcissism is playing a massive role.
Yeah, the whole look what I can do shit.
Look what I can do. Look at me,
Yeah.
and look at my car. Look at this. I'm on vacation and stuff like that. I've been investing in real estate for 5 years. I've been in real estate for 12 years. On top of doing other things, I work my ass off. I still drive a 2008 Mazda 3 with like 170,000 clicks on it. You know what I mean? I'm not about the bling. The whole point of this podcast is to inspire people to be able to follow a passion. And that doesn't necessarily mean, I'm going to live in a castle one day. You're living a life by design.
Mm-hmm.
You're living life on your terms.
Yeah, 100%. Like I have serious love-hate relationship with social media. And we live in a
Me too.
flex
Yeah.
culture. We live in a look what I'm doing, which is so hard to see, because you could like look into these people's eyes while they're talking and being like,
You're
there's
so full of
something
shit.
wrong with you.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm scared for you because I can see it in your eyes that you're hurting.
Okay, so
That you find it important to tell people every step that you're taking.
we talked about this outside while we were having a smoke. There's guys online. No? Okay. I'm gonna go with it. Fuck them. There's people online, they're like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. Don't watch Netflix or you're not going to be successful. I'm like, you know what? I watch Netflix. I know. I'll cut that out. So they're saying, oh, don't watch Netflix. It's a waste of time. Spend your time on yourself. Well, you know what? I caught up on all 4 seasons of Cobra Kai. My shirt.
Nice.
Eagle Fang Karate.
Nice.
While I was on my treadmill. So why can't I?
Because you need to
You know
be
what I
watching
mean?
videos on Tony Robbins,
that-
and you need to be self-improving.
But that's
Mental
he was talking about the
masturbation.
whole-
What are you doing? You're
the
working
whole
physically,
flex
but are you
thing,
working
right?
mentally? What's wrong with you?
Like
Yeah,
I
You're
make
wasting
a,
your time.
yeah.
You're not 10xing your life,
I'm like,
Steve.
fuck that.
Yeah, I
You're
think
like
that
5.5 tops.
Yeah.
there is a problem with that too. The whole self-help culture. Again, another love-hate relationship. If self-help books worked, why would there be 8 million of them?
That's so true.
It is so true.
Yeah, but what I think is like I've read a ton of self-help books. Some I don't remember a thing, but some have kind of inspired a little bit of thought and cool things. That find the person that you resonate with and stick with that. But I also think there's nothing
Yes.
wrong with watching Netflix. I also think it's important to watch Netflix.
Oh, it is.
Because we are so inundated with information so often, right?
Yes.
If we're not learning, we're not growing, we're not doing well. I think when you're watching Netflix, what you're doing is you're getting all the bad ideas out of your head. You're clearing that space for amazing things to come in,
Yeah.
right? And like you said, we're here. We're like, wake up at 5 a.m., hustle, grind. And Gary Vee tells us to go, 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 go. When it's like, why isn't there someone out there that's like, stop going and just chill?
It doesn't matter when you wake up, as long as you hustle and grind when you wake up. 5 a.m. Like, no, not me. You know me.
I'm up at 4:30.
Yeah, but that's you. You can do that. I physically
No,
can't.
I do it because I have kids and I spend like the first 3 hours. Of
Well,
my
you've
day.
got young kids,
Yes.
whereas my kids are older and
I found a
independent,
way that
self-sufficient.
if I'm going to have all these hustles, I have to find a time to get it done without getting interrupted. But then I can have purposeful time with my kids.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah, but you're doing it for a purpose.
Yes,
You're not doing it to say, "Hey,
No.
I woke up at 5 a.m. I ran."
I'm
10
not taking
kilometers."
any selfies with baggy eyes, and like
No.
I'm sitting.
You're right.
At a chair
that's
that
the
I've
difference
since broken.
is not having to tell people every second of your move, right? And it's almost like, hey, look at me. I woke up at 5. I'm awesome.
Yeah.
When deep down they are suffering. I read something once. It's like the biggest flex is not telling people what you're doing. And to me, that's so powerful. And we have to really dive deep into this
Less
kind of
history, more mystery.
yeah. Oh, dude, like some of the people that I look up to most, it's because they're so mysterious to me. Like one of my biggest idols in life is Andy Kaufman, by far. I just love what that dude
Such
did.
Interesting guy.
Yeah,
And we only seen a part of it.
that's
we
right.
have no idea.
We only seen what he showed us.
Yeah, we have no idea.
You know who I'm big into too? Is the guy like George Clooney. Because what is George Clooney doing right now?
He's like the coolest guy.
Right?
I have
Right?
no idea. What is he doing
Exactly.
Right. He's not on Instagram.
We can only
He's not
guess
tweeting.
what he's doing.
Yeah.
But all these like other celebrities, I guarantee we can tell you what they're doing because they just wrote on
I
their
have
story.
no idea what the Kardashians are up to. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
they
never
just
mind.
made a
They
hot dog
updated it.
and they just farted.
That's right.
And they had to tell people.
If they jar that, they can make money.
But the thing is there's these conversations are happening with everybody all the time, and we all know that. But it's not changing. The narrative's not changing, and we got to figure out why.
Yeah, I agree.
It won't. Can we have you back in
Perry?
again?
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
there's so
No,
much that
like,
we can go
man,
into with you.
The rambling, like,
Right.
this is what I
know.
love about our podcast because we can just fucking fuck off somewhere and
Yeah.
ramble like we're on mushrooms.
Where can people find you if they want photography? They want to learn more about Friends with Hearts. If they want to follow you online, where can they follow you?
All the socials are Jay Perry.
At Jay Perry. I
yeah.
figured that out.
Yeah.
JAY, not
Yeah,
J.
JayPerry. I remember staying up till midnight one time when Facebook started the URLs. They're like, at midnight, we're going to release it. You can grab a URL. And I stayed up because I needed that facebook.com/jayperry. And I had to like do some other workarounds to get the Twitter one. But
Right.
it's all just Jay
Were
Perry.
were you one of the OGs to get an invite for Gmail?
I was an invite for Facebook.
I don't know. Doesn't sound familiar.
No, like when Gmail first
You're
started.
dating yourself, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, he's only a year older or a year younger than me.
he looks so much younger.
I know.
You were the one that wanted to end the show, and now you're fucking kibitzing.
I don't know.
All right. So on that positive note, what
Positive
do you want
note.
now? Okay, we're just gonna end literally on the word positive note.
Sure.
You got bamboozled.
Jay, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Hey, man. So, we have outro music? I don't even know. This
I
is
don't
getting
know.
late.
Yes.
For more information on
No, I'm not
investing in
done.
real estate, visit Battle-
Pause button.
You're drunk. On that note,
Yeah, on that note.
we're just gonna edit. We're not gonna edit any of this, are we? We say we're gonna.
No, I'm going to edit some of it.
No, whatever. Okay.
I got to edit one part out.
All right. So anyway, until next time, my name is Dan Carroll. For our amazing guest, Jay Perry, our producer, Greg, and co-host, Steve Kopak, urging you to go out there. Jeez, it's not even on you.
No, it's not. Thank God.
To follow your passion and work like hell.
For more information on investing in real estate, visit battlefieldrei.com and follow us on Instagram at BattlefieldREI Inc. and at Renovating Hamilton. Music for the show provided by josephmcdade.com and voiceover by Mike Dawson.